We are live.
So my eyes are at the top of my screen the whole time, like bug.
We are live. I tried saying it, you kept going.
Yes, but you usually mute up.
Not well,
Give me
It was a
countdown.
3, 2, 1.
You've sabotaged me.
You're welcome. Hello, everybody. We are live.
Woo!
Oh, it would help if I put us on the right thing here.
Is it the D&D screen?
Here we go.
There
No.
we are.
We're on the right one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to In the Margins. As always, I'm Eli. I am here joined by Brian.
Hello.
And Jared.
Howdy.
I'm a crocodile.
A crocodile. We are here with a fun little Q&A. I found a bunch of questions that I can ask my lovely players here.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
Funky.
Entertaining.
Chaotic.
I can take chaotic or insane. And
Chaotic and feral. I
Take
feel
it or
like
leave
those.
it.
I feel like those are apt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 100 questions. I don't think we're gonna get through all 100, and we may skip a couple because some of them are,
Spicy?
No, some of them are just like describe your character, yada yada yada. And
Which
we
is
all
stuff we've already done throughout
Yeah.
the campaign.
and we all know how you guys look because you also are constantly popping up,
boing.
going boing when we're
To be
doing.
fair, I think Seven at least, and actually also Redwood, like we all just need like updated portraits.
Yeah, I'm not worrying about that right now. I'm the one who has to draw 3 portraits of your
Yeah.
guys' character. I will do
Well-
that. I think the best way of doing that is like when you guys get to like level 11, which is what I'm gonna do.
Well, to be
We're
fair,
level
as
10.
of right now, chisels like will be the easiest. Just give him eyes.
Well, make his
I
eyes.
have
more-
eyes.
he has
Functioning
eyes. He
eyes.
has eyes in his portrait. I would just need to like saturate them a bit more.
Yeah. Unless
I love how
Chisel goes through like a horrific mauling in the next session.
Previously it was, yeah, do you guys want to do portrait updates at level 9? Sure. What level are we? 9? Let's do 10, and then 10 came along. It's like, okay, now we're doing 11. Eli, you're not gonna have these portraits done to level 18.
If we even reach
If.
there.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. Okay. It's
Actually-
hard running a channel where there's a bunch of fucking artwork on it, but I'm
Yeah.
doing.
I think with Evan, it's just make him more purple and pale.
You also
And
have
then-
like proper clothes now too.
But that's optional.
No, it's not.
That's just for the weather. Redwood would be the most complicated because you have to redraw an entire new arm.
Well, not
He's got a new arm, he's got the tattoos of his actual arm, he's ripped the sleeves off his shirt.
Okay, the ripping of the sleeves. That's definitely gonna be.
Chisel
That's
just
gonna be a
has,
thing that didn't happen.
I was
and
gonna
Chisel
be
just
like,
has his eyes and a nice icy hammer.
yeah.
Nothing's much really changed with Chisel.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to draw some updated portraits, which is I'll have plenty of time to do that later. We-
5 years later.
5 years later, campaign 2 starts. That's what I finally released.
No. Campaign 3.
Campaign 3. Okay, I'm not that much of a procrastinator. Actually, my mom did design a shirt for me using her Cricut program, and it says, "I'm not procrastinating, it's a side quest." I was like, okay. She said, I made a shirt that reminds you of you, and I was like, thanks, Mom. So first off, we're gonna go ahead. These are 100 questions. So let's get started. If your character wasn't an adventurer, what livelihood would they lead? We already kind of have a feeling as to what Seven's answer would be. But I'm curious as to what Chisel and Redwood's answers would be.
Well, we kind of already know what Chisel's would be, too.
What would... Oh, a stonemason?
Stonemason and head of the family.
True.
It's really just the mysterious one that we know nothing about his backstory yet.
Be giving you guys a good, decent amount of his backstory as we move through the world. It just happens that Redwood has gone literally all over Umaria, so like lore has to be sprinkled all over Umaria.
Redwood is interesting because Redwood is essentially he's a traveling healer. He's a wanderer, a hermit. But if he didn't have his fucking experience with fire, I don't know where he'd be. Velico Dervaux has the ritual of when you meet your circle, you travel. So I think he'd still be a wanderer, but just of some other circle.
You don't think...
not going on stupid,
What?
crazy adventures
So then-
with a feral child.
So I guess that brings up the question of what would your other circle be if you weren't a circle of fire?
I honestly could see him as maybe stars or moon.
I could see stars.
Yeah, I can see. I can see stars. Yeah.
You know, if that was just here being a normal hunter, would never discover blood magic or fuck around with magic all that much. Just be a hunter in the mountains.
Or
That
maybe
doesn't
Druid of the
same.
Land. Druid of the Land.
I guess a druid of land for Redwood too.
Specifically grasslands.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not only just
But
for
he
like,
definitely wouldn't be some. He definitely wouldn't be like some super wild one. I think if Redwood had control of it, it'd be something calmer.
yeah. All right.
Unfortunately, Casey had control.
Unfortunately, you decided to make your character burn.
Shepherd could be good as well.
I don't see him being a shepherd, unfortunately.
Because shepherd, in my mind, involves community.
Yeah, it
Something
involves...
that is
it in-
directly opposed to a hermit.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a pack mentality. Moving on. Who in the party would your character trust most with their life?
Rob.
Good choice. I'll tell you right off the bat. Bad choice.
Then Redwood. Not even gonna
Redwood.
talk about Thevin.
If we're
Everyone-
talking like everybody,
Yeah.
I think I trust Ben Kashali more than these two.
She said party.
Yeah, true party. The question did specify party.
Who in the party would your character trust?
So,
most?
Redwood, do you trust Chisel more or Thevin more?
A fox more.
Rub.
Shrub.
Well, Shrub, I can understand like why Redwood would trust Shrub more. Like the two of them have been traveling like long before all of you guys met, and it was
But
very
also,
much...
that's like a cheap answer because Shrub's your elemental spirit.
But
she did
if
she
all
did take
cards
care
are-
of him.
all cards on the table, if everything is going to shit, I think Redwood trusts Chisel more.
Yeah.
Chisel is a very wise, very level-headed character, and can fucking survive a lot of shit that's been thrown at him.
Which is really
So-
impressive because Brian has a track record of not playing level-headed characters.
Uh-huh.
You said I could not be as chaos hungry as I have been when we first started this session. This campaign.
I asked you to tone it down from like an 11 to a 7.
And
did.
then I actually toned it down to a 4.
Yeah, he did. Chisel is a good character. I enjoy
Oh, yeah.
Chisel's character a lot. This is definitely
Mhm.
one of my favorites.
I
of
think
your
everyone
characters.
is fun characters.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
Everyone,
definitely think,
everyone's chemistry works really well too.
despite how much we bicker and how everyone keeps saying, Thevin, goddammit.
Seven
We have
countries.
It's
I think
mostly Thevin!
I think we have moved past the point of strangers officially. It
Yeah.
definitely feels like sibling bickering.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
know
like
that.
the only thing
yeah,
you
I
really...
know it's sibling bickering between me and Shrub.
And like Redwood's dealing with Seven, it's like he's stubborn. He's not gonna ask for help. We're just gonna let him fucking deal with it. And when he asks for help, we'll be there.
Yeah. And it's like, you don't trust Seven with anything unless it's to kill something.
What are your character's core moral beliefs? We're gonna say give at least 3. So that way we're not listing off like a massive list for each character. So I guess we're gonna start with 7 because I feel like 7's
Okay.
pretty simple to start with. I could be
So
wrong.
3.
Yeah, just
Be very wrong.
I have to do something like 2 seconds. I'll be right back. So
Can we actually start with Chisel? Because I'm still thinking of 2 others.
Yeah, go ahead, Chisel. What do you got?
well, it's not really 3, but Chisel believes that law of the land is higher than law of the people. So the people have lived there and worked with the land has a higher priority than people who are traveling to him. And he believes that family is above all others, and friends are just below family. Thankfully, he counts everyone as family around him currently, so you don't have to worry about him not helping you. I know it's a basic answer, but that's what Chisel was basically created around. He is a family man that puts everything, even himself, below family. And I'm pretty sure the viewers saw that through how he didn't really fight the arranged marriage.
Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead. It's now a toss-up between 7 and Redwood. Who wants to go next?
Who has a higher initiative roll?
Okay,
Casey,
yeah,
oh yeah,
sure,
Casey
fine.
didn't think about it. He left.
Yeah, he's still... so for Devin, I feel like for Devin, one of the big ones is also family as well. I mean, the whole reason why he sent his sister to that one swamp with the other family after everyone else got killed. It's like, she's my only surviving relative. I want her to be safe. Safest place is far away from me. And as Redwood Shrub and Chisel become more like friendly to Devin, it's like, okay, I'm gonna protect you guys with my life. No matter how much I annoy you, I will protect you. Devin also believes like the strong should protect the weak, kind of that big brother mentality. And also because of his personal backstory and thing, it's like, I don't really care the methods, so long as, you know, good people stay safe.
We noticed you don't care about the
and,
methods.
Whatever is the threat is eliminated. Which also still, like, if Devin himself still feels like he's tainted near the end of this, it's like, he's the most likely to perform a suicide act to slay the big bad.
Alright. Redwood, that means it's up to you now. What are your 3 biggest moral, personal morals?
strangely enough, unlike the other 2, I don't think Redwood has the biggest connection with his actual family. Kind of how he was raised in kind of the tradition, but Redwood is a lot more based around just helping in general.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be specifically people who are close to him. He tries to help out where he can. So I think a lot of the morals that he gets are based on that mentality of like just trying to be useful, and people who have power should use that power to help. It's sort of why he was upset with the Fae person. That person is saying, oh, people say that we're tricky, but we're just trying to help, but I'm not going to help you. That's like, that hurt him a lot, because it's a lot of, I have this power, I hate this power, but I have it, so I'm going to help people with it.
Right, right.
And he has a lot of that in understanding and tinkering and experimentation because he wants to see what else he can do with this. I think it's strange to say, but I think Redwood views himself more as a tool than as a person.
It's like, I don't have any agency. I'm just
don't
here to make
have
other people's lives
any
better.
sort of autonomy whatsoever.
Redwood, the only reason he was in this thing is because he was told that they needed clerical assistance in this quest. And well, he has mild healing powers and basic clerical assistance. So that was the only obligation he had. Yeah, he's got a couple more ties into it now. He has people he appreciates and such. But because he views himself more as a tool than as a person, he just went into the quest to be helpful.
Alrighty.
You said we're bad at this Q&A thing.
I did say that. I was like, hey Casey, do you have any ideas for In the Margins today? And he's like, we could do a Q&A that fits more with our podcast setup. And I was like, yeah, but we're bad at Q&A.
Have we actually ever done a proper Q&A though?
One.
Yeah.
We did one at the very beginning.
Yeah.
We also did the card things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit more of a game.
Yeah.
It's a Q&A where Eli doesn't have to look at their phone for a list.
I do have to look at my phone for a list.
Wow.
What relationships does your character have with your parents and siblings? I feel like we kind
I
of
think
already.
we can skip me.
Yeah, I think we can.
We know chisels.
I think we can basically like. I think we could skip this one just in general because we do have a basic consensus of everyone's relationship.
We have an understanding of those two.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer it, or do you want us to skip it, Casey? Because
yeah,
you're going to
do
be
you
the
wanna
one
answer
that's
it?
answering it.
Yeah.
Do we want to wait and just see how that's revealed if we go to Velik or DeVoe?
I think that would be a good idea, yeah.
So
I'm
let's
fine with whatever.
let's go ahead and skip this.
Sorry, spoilers.
No, you're good. Does your character have any biases for or against certain races?
I'm not
Chisel?
allowed to talk about this.
Who is the racist one of the group?
I think it's also the shortest one in the group that isn't a fox.
It's just... Who are you pointing to?
Wait, everyone is pointing in strange directions. Brian, you're pointing off screen, and Eli, you're pointing just off screen as well.
I'm pointing to Jared.
So the
For
way
me, I'm
that
currently
it's
pointing towards Eli.
The-
This is Casey, and that's Brian.
so this is Jared, that's you, Casey, and then that is Brian.
Okay, you have to remember that your camera is mirrored. So when I point that way, I'm pointing off screen for myself.
Oh yeah, so then
And so, I'm
Yeah,
pointing
now
to
you're
Jared.
pointing at Brian. See?
I'm pointing to Jared.
Well, Jared's just down here.
yeah.
Hi, Jared.
Hi.
Everyone's pointing at Jared, and Jared is pointing at Eli.
I don't think we all. I don't think of any of us are truly racist. It's just
I
we
guess-
never really explored that area,
Also, like as you described, Eli, when we
and
first
we've mostly
started
met
this-
only elves and humans.
Well, that also, but Eli mentioned that purposely when we make our characters, like, hey, this world because it's so young,
Yeah.
stuff like kingdoms, territory disputes, wars haven't really been a thing yet. That kind of stuff hasn't really gone to full motion.
Mhm.
So
And
there
there's
hasn't
not really
been,
any like half races either. So
there's no
there's
half
no.
races yet. Everything's still very isolated. So it's very
I guess
Yeah.
my question then would more be, what do you think your character's thoughts have been with the other races that you guys have met so far, even though those are few and far between? Like Helen.
I think Redwood hates Faye.
same.
I don't. think-
Every experience he's had with Faye is someone who's incredibly arrogant and pompous, and I think he hates that.
Even Anwin?
Anwin, barely. But definitely that, like, I'm so much stronger than you. I'd handle this all if I could get through that wall, but I can't, so you all are doing it.
Yeah, Anwen, she's one of the good ones.
I
Everyone
don't-
else, though, especially Tarun, nah.
Don't say that!
It's just, well, we know who.
Are we gonna get
I-
banned for racism against Faye?
I
Nah.
don't think that applies here. When we mean Fae, we mean fantasy Fae. Twitch.
Fairies.
Fairies.
There's an F, not a G.
It's not a British cigarette.
We can't say that
or
word.
a bundle of sticks.
Stop.
No, Jared.
Stop.
Don't test that line.
Stop.
Stop it.
Okay.
Before this account suddenly just goes down the drain. Please. I know we only have 12 followers, but I'm trying to hold on to those 12.
Hey, you can join us and make it a baker's dozen. Please.
Please, we're desperate.
Help. We actually went up to 66 subscribers on our YouTube channel, so
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
went up 2 whole subscribers.
Hey, that's closer to 100.
That's true.
It's not 0 or 1, so we are good.
Yeah.
I'd be always the optimistic with numbers.
So
You are the human calculator.
so I know you guys haven't really experienced much in terms of authority figures beyond like the council and chiefs of villages and stuff like that. But
And the fucking Faye.
I think I'm gonna skip this question instead.
Is it just attitude towards authority?
I actually have a question. What race would your characters be if they weren't the race they are?
If there were more open towards races in this world, what race do you think your character would be?
So if I had to make Redwood as a race that's not a wood elf.
I would say elf in general.
Yeah.
Drow is acceptable because they're very different than regular elves.
Mm-hmm.
But they still fall under the elf category.
Are you saying dark elves aren't elves?
Hey, guys, quit with the.
I just steer us right back to the line.
Relax.
Stop hitting the barrier.
We're trying to go into traffic, please.
To
I
answer
actually-
the question,
I'm like a kid bowling with bumpers. We're just bouncing off those walls.
to answer the question seriously, I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to imagine Devin not as an elf, but I guess a Dragonborn could be another option.
You and your fucking dragonborns, dude.
What?
I was almost dragonborn.
That is true. You were the one who was almost a dragonborn. Until
Yeah,
I
I
told
guess
you
like
that
the
dragons
first
weren't.
character I posted to Eli, I think, was a Dragonborn. But I was like, hey, Casey's already a druid of the exact same subclass.
Yeah, I had to literally just be like, 1, no dragons. 2, no fire. I felt that because each time you sent me a new character concept, the description got shorter and shorter. I was like, uh-oh.
Eventually, you had said Circle of Wildfire Wood Elf. Ooh, but other races. I know I did a mousefolk for Jared's campaign, but I really think Redwood would have been a mousefolk or some sort of beast folk.
I can see that.
I don't think like lizard folk exactly, because that's a little
That's more swampy.
generally little.
Oh, wait.
Generally, lizard folk are a lot more brutal.
No, wait,
More
actually,
violent.
Lizard Folk actually might have fit Devin better.
There it is. There's the feralness that we were looking for.
But like, I could see Redwood as like a mousefolk or tabaxi or an Aarakocra.
I could see Chisel as a Thrycrin.
Yeah,
Yeah, that all makes sense actually.
there was no need to explain that one.
Yeah. What location encountered in the campaign has your character felt the most at home in, or generally liked the most?
I think Redwoods is fairly obvious.
The Golden Sanctum?
Yeah. Not
I-
just because of El.
I also think mine's very obvious.
Under the mountain.
At
Under the
home.
mountain. At home.
At home. Your little home.
I'm technically I'm the only one with an actual still standing home.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
mine's there. I just don't want to go there.
Well, too bad we're going there.
I guess that's also kind of obvious for being at least the outdoors of the northern area, where his home used to be. But I guess now that he's patched things up, kind of,
Like that.
with his sister down the swamp, can technically also be a home as well.
Yeah. So those are the answers for that. So this one is another one where we kind of know the answer on it, but I'm still curious as to what the second
Don't
part
die.
of this question is. What deity, if any, does your character worship? We already know what Chisel and Redwood worship. But
I could go into a separate deity too.
no, you don't have to do that. I guess it goes more into what is your character's opinions on other people's worship?
I think that kind of goes back to the whole how do we feel about other races?
Well, actually,
It's
no.
so-
Actually, more goes into what happened last session when Casey went a whole tirade of like, these gods shouldn't like each other. What if you do this ritual and then the god you're worshiping is annoyed with the god that this ritual is for, and yada yada yada.
That was more like magical chemistry that he didn't want to fuck with. I think Redwood views other people's religion as just sort of their own business. It's like,
It's part of them, so why?
yeah, it's like asking what your house is made of. Like, okay, yeah, you have a brick house. Great. I'm sure that's helpful in some situations and not so in others. But you chose those materials, you built the house, you have a brick house.
Devin's just been like so much about
Bread.
survival. He hasn't really thought
Apples.
about deities, so he doesn't have one, nor doesn't really care what others are.
Devin has no house. Devin lives outside. This is very much Devin.
It's like it's because the gods are physical beings that we can actually not physical, but we've seen the acts. So Devin acknowledges they exist because you'd be stupid not to in this kind of
He's
world.
not an atheist, but also he just doesn't really care.
It's like, hey, what have y'all done for me lately? Nothing? Okay, bet.
You know what? I can't say I disagree with that.
It's like I don't hate
I don't
y'all.
fuck with you. You don't fuck with me.
Yeah, it's like I don't hate y'all. I have nothing against y'all, but it's also like
You haven't
after
done-
all the shit I've been through.
Yeah, you haven't. That's like you haven't done anything for me, so. I think
Mine was not a wanted faith.
yours was not indeed not a wanted faith.
If this
And
fucking looked and pointed and said that one, and I'm like, shit.
Unless Eli has a deity that is just about the feral wilderness or something that
Hunting.
can align with Thevin. If you got Ball going or something.
I mean, there is a deity. Like, the deities are very much like Casey. What are you doing?
I'm just weird. Relax.
There are like several deities. Like, unfortunately, the way that I have these set up is that they're all very diverse with their domains. Because later on they'll be more grouped with other things. Like, they'll be properly like quote unquote organized later on down the line.
Technically, there's still only like 12.
And so like it's a matter of it's more of a matter of finding the one with the particular domain that you want to follow. I think especially since it's so early in the world's creation.
Then I guess by that logic, depending on how the campaign goes, Devin actually might find a deity that he would vibe with.
Do you think, with how like scattered, you said the deities are eventually going to start like figuring out the domains and getting proper separation. To me, it kind of feels like a game of Monopoly where everyone has a random actually has a Monopoly. Because you've got Katune, whose secret's disease, lies, and storms. That feels like someone got Park Place and has a couple of greens.
Or just like the Greek mythology when they kill the Titans, Zeus like, all right, I'll take the sky, Poseidon, you get the sea, Hades, you take the underworld.
Mm-hmm. And eventually they're gonna like trade those cards around to get a proper Monopoly that has like a nature god that covers these nature domains.
Kitsune, doing secret truths and riddles or something.
Yeah.
All right. If your character had time to pick up any artisan's tools, game set, instrument, etc., what would it be?
Redwood
In
actually
world
has
or-
an instrument proficiency.
And I have 2 tool proficiencies.
Yeah,
Let's
something that hasn't
go-
come up lately, but yeah, Devin's bow is a musical bow,
Let's go
so that
with
can play some.
let's go with something new then, instead of
Yeah, something that isn't what we already have.
yeah.
I just thought I'd bring it up because it's never been touched before. But Redwood has a proficiency, and I looked up like ancient musical instruments, and I found the Greek aeoli, which is a double flute. Originally, when I was building the character, I wanted to build him really dramatic and edgy, and like maybe he only has one aeoli because he doesn't have a pair. He only has the one.
That's just a
Stupid.
flute.
Yeah, it was stupid, and I'm like, no, he has both. It's an instrument. It's an instrument.
I honestly think Chisel would do like cartographer's tools.
You know
Charting
what?
out the world with just himself and outdoors.
Kind of left field, but Devin could have been a carpenter.
That's not left field. That's just out of the park.
And gone.
Or at least something to do with woodworking.
I think Redwood would learn basic alchemy. It's not the most
Touch.
Yeah, medicines, poisons, other tinctures. Because he doesn't have that. Well, without the adventure, he would have been just a normal cleric type person.
An apothecary.
Yeah. Before the campaign, Redwood, there's no money system, so the way Redwood got food, clothing, and shelter is he would trade his clerical services, helping with crops like he's done a couple of times in pain, or acting medicinally and helping cure people because druid magic is a rarer thing. Redwood was essentially a traveling nurse.
Free healthcare for just food and board.
If I sleep in your barn tonight, I can cure your foot.
Honestly, I just thought of the nurse and doctor trainers in Pokemon Black and White. You just kind of find out in the open, hey, beat my Pokemon, in this case Shrub, and I'll heal you.
I like robes. They're comfy and easy to wear.
There goes the sleeves again. Okay, well, that's
That's the entire reason he has the bending cantrip, so the sleeves can come on and off like the freaking short / pants with the zippers that you saw.
Oh
Oh,
my
I-
god. Tearaway pants.
Not tearaway pants, but like where you could unzip the leg.
I know, but at the same time,
I
all I can think
honestly
of is
think-
tearaway pants.
I honestly think if we were slightly more advanced, Redwood would make Velcro. Just for
Yeah.
that reason.
Save himself the magical energy.
I hate having to spend a minute using this cantrip to put my sleeves back on. Let's just.
What is
That's an
your
interesting question. Would the as we move forward in technology, would Velcro get invented because of the mending spell?
No. Just because I think it's because it's like, yeah, we already have a spell for this, so why would we make
And it's a cantrip.
Yeah.
Unless there's a side that for some reason just doesn't have mending, and they just develop independently.
So, what is your character's current goal summed up in one sentence?
Oh god. We already finished Chisel's goal.
In the blight. That is really Devin's right one's at.
But I think for the sake of making it interesting, ignoring the blight, what's your goal?
Chisel doesn't have one, then. He already has all that he basically set out for. If it weren't for the blight and basically you got the other people in the party, he would just go home.
Live out his life, peaceful days, head of the family, do some carving. Barring the blight, I think that would just be explore the world, have adventures, live free,
And find out a way to travel across the sea because
Yes!
we just found out that there's land over there.
It's like it's over there.
I think that falls into the bracket of explore the world.
Probably.
I think Redwood, besides like the tribe goal of discovering his magic, I think he's got that pretty much under wrap at this point. And barring the blight, I think we discussed this previously. I think Redwood would try to start a town or village. Just to build
Civilization.
himself peace.
I think we discussed it between Emmanuel and the Haven Tree.
Yeah, I
If
think
I
a
remember
similar
right.
topic of this did come up before. Like, hey, what will we do? But I think that was more of a when everything's said and done, and somehow we're all still alive type deal. It's
So
like
with how everything's going, I don't suspect either of you to be still alive.
But just imagine, like, Redwood, he starts his little town, he has a nice little community going. Chisel visits, like, hey, bring the feast. Devin visits, oh god.
Shut the gate!
He has venison!
Shut the
No!
gate! It's
I
not
bring-
worth it!
I bring gold and spices from distant lands!
We're out of spices, open the gate!
Open the gate a little.
All right. Does your character ever want to settle down with a spouse, children, house, etc.?
Yes!
We were just talking about that.
Sorry. I
Did you not hear the conversation was just going on?
I was looking at other questions.
I guess to answer it for
We
Devin.
were talking about how Redwood was trying. His end goal is to establish a town, build himself peace.
And Chisel's pretty much already married.
No, I'm not.
Well, you will be
That-
soon enough.
That fell through.
Okay.
I think we need to go back to Chisel's house and threaten some people.
Probably. I'm down for that.
Murder a person?
Yeah, sure.
Why? Wait.
The other,
just tell me
the other
who.
family head?
Yeah, just
we
tell me
we
who.
already did that.
Yeah, but still.
You can always do a little bit more threatening.
We can do a little Odysseus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we can just do a little of this. But to answer the
I
question for
made
Devin,
him
it's like,
shit himself. What more do you want from him?
His head.
on a silver platter.
I want this man's testicles stapled to the wall.
Oh my god, not this again.
But I guess to answer the question once again for Devin, it'd be like, yeah, Devin, I can see Devin getting married, but we wouldn't really sell. I'd be more like a traveling family.
Nomads.
Yeah.
All right. What battle in the campaign has been the most memorable for your character? We already know Redwood's answer.
Which one? Losing his arm or fighting
Yeah.
his dad?
Losing his arm.
I think it's the one where I almost died. Losing the arm, yes, that's traumatic. But when he had the flesh nearly ripped off and was unconscious and had to go talk to God for a hot minute, I think that was more impactful.
It's just a normal Tuesday.
Now it is!
Now it's a normal Tuesday.
For Chisel, I don't know really.
I mean, there was at one time in the swamp where you got getting hit with poison darts, but would not go down.
I would not go down, but other than that, just none of them were really memorable. It was just a fight.
The way I look at it, there's two that stick out in my mind immediately, and they're both kind of early on. The one with the corrupted chief, because that was when like Thevin's mercilessness, like, hey, this guy's a beast. I don't care if you're trying to cure him. If he's a threat, I'm putting him down. And then in the swamp, when he truly lost control of his beast form, ending up
Almost killing Shrub.
Yeah, that would be
I
pretty
threw a
memorable.
Displacer Beast at you.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty memorable, yeah.
I still think that was fucking hilarious. No! I have two problems. One's over there and one's right here. Let's take the one here and move it over there.
I think, as I recall, you had to get up and leave when that happened. So you got to
Yeah,
come
he
back
did.
to
He
it.
had to get up and leave to go get food, and that's when the shit hit the fan.
Yeah, I came back and you're like, yeah, Shrub's unconscious. What?
Shrub is unconscious and bleeding heavily.
It's Thevin's fault. No, as in Thevin actually is the one who did it.
Yeah.
Good job. So proud. Next question. If your character wasn't the class they are now, what would they be instead?
Paladin.
Thank you.
I can see
Greg.
that for Chisel.
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
That makes sense.
I'm stuck between Cleric or Ranger.
I can see Redwood as a cleric, not really much of a ranger.
Yeah, I can
Well,
see.
with Ranger, you
more of
still
a
have
cleric.
the naturey aspect and being a wanderer.
While it's not the main focus, the nature is a major part of Redwood's character.
That's true, but at the same time, like, I don't see you being something that's so combat focused. You know what I mean? Like, Ranger is, I feel, is a little
Yeah.
bit more combat focused.
Rangers do have some utility spells, but it's definitely more skewed towards combat, especially with Hunter's Mark.
And honestly, I have a question. If Redwood was a ranger and not a druid, would he have left the Haven Tree?
I think that still depends on the culture and the domain.
Mm-hmm.
For Thevin, I can see.
I could see you as a fighter or maybe rogue.
Yeah, rogue. is
Warlock.
The one.
Warlock.
Those don't exist yet.
Warlocks are not a true thing yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we're like
Dude is like the border of Warlock.
Bro.
not willingly, but hey, what warlocks are. But anyway, yeah. I guess you could say
Most-
that.
My warlock is very willing. Thank you very
The
much.
smart ones aren't willing.
Relax.
Anywho,
Excuse me.
yeah, rogue.
That
but
is
also,
his wife.
too bad. If we're expanding it to stuff that's available in the future, then I can also see artificer making guns.
If
You're
you
one of
had
those crazy artificers that's spending 3 whole sessions working on a bomb during long rest.
Not a bomb, a
Oh,
cannon.
a bomb.
A cannon.
there was actually
You built a bomb in 5 minutes. I think a bomb as an artificer.
there was actually like a
Specifically artillerist.
There's actually
Yeah.
a point where a friend of ours, like 2 friends of ours, I was like in a D&D campaign with them, and he asked, one of them asked, like, how much gunpowder and black powder would it take to make this kind of weapon? And the poor friend who was playing the dungeon master was like, what? Because this motherfucker was trying to use, like, actual, like, scientific, like, calculations and stuff like that, and we're all sitting here like, dude, just take the goddamn crate and leave.
I don't think we've ever had a campaign that didn't have a massive fucking explosion in it.
Well,
Everyone is thinking.
I don't think this one has had an explosion in it, has it?
It's not over.
Giant tree.
Giant tree didn't explode.
A corrupted tree. No, but it burst into flames.
It went up in flames because the children put it up in flames, but it didn't.
Combustion
explode.
and explosion are not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
Fire and bomb are separate.
Given the context of the campaign, that is the closest we've ever been.
This campaign is not over, and I am a wildfire druid with wild magic. Something is going to happen.
Give it 5 sessions, I guarantee it.
I don't think anything exploded in Glock.
Yeah, I was a geomancer with bombs.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah.
I was a geomancer with bombs and catapult.
Yeah.
Mm.
We're all like getting down to it and trying to think. Also, Dark Tides is definitely higher on that list.
That is
definitely we blew up.
Considering there was like 3 or 4 nukes, yeah.
Well, bioweapons and nukes and
Chemtech nukes.
One was a character.
We blew up like 5 different bombs in like 3 sessions. I
leveled
think.
several cities.
Yeah.
Committed so many war crimes.
The first
Runeterra
one was
would not
essentially-
survive.
The first one was essentially Hiroshima. Then you went and just bombed the Scandinavians, essentially. Then atop the mountain with a giant star god. There's one more I'm missing.
It was the chem
one
bomb
where
in
I blew up.
Ionia.
No, that was the first one I
Oh,
mentioned.
probably.
That's the Hiroshima one.
Hiroshima.
I think there was only 3. Yeah,
I
Ionia,
blew up in the Freljords.
Targan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Japan.
That was
We are
the
Legion.
That's Hiroshima.
that's
Yeah, Ionia, Japan, Hiroshima, that's the Asian place. The first one.
well, before we get too off track trying to cut explosions that we have set off in our campaigns. As funny as it is. What is your character's favorite season?
Autumn.
That's a pretty good one.
While I was blind, he could hear the crunching of the leaves and was prepared for wild animals.
That's a fair reason.
As of now, I think it's autumn. Before, when he was a lot more skittish and worried about power, having crunchy, dry, flammable objects everywhere on the floor was not a good time for him.
I could see summer for Redwood and spring for Thevin.
Why do you think spring?
Things come out of hiding.
Yeah.
Bro.
No, legitimately. I think spring for Thevin, because the forest is nice, hunting is easier, because you don't have as much heat coming down. Fall, you have a lot of foliage coverage, and well, things are starting to move slower, so it's harder to find.
If you're just pure thinking of the like hunter aspect, then yeah, spring. But honestly, actually, I think it leans more towards winter, because even though a lot of bullshit has happened to Thevin during the winter, there's also a lot of, fun times with like cozying up with family by the hearth and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. So winter for the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, winter for the nostalgia factor.
All right. Following stereotypical astrology, what would your character's zodiac sign be?
Can we skip this one? I don't
know enough
zodiacs.
about it.
Okay, we can skip it.
Is Aries the wrathful one?
Excuse me.
Really shows how
I'm
much
an
you guys.
Aries.
It really shows how much you guys know about astrology by asking the question.
I only know
We're
my
guys,
own
we don't
actual
follow
star
it.
sign.
I know what my sign means purely because of the weird coincidences.
Yeah.
My name in Nordic, in some Nordic language, means brave. My sign is Leo, which is all about bravery and courage and ego. And Year of the Dragon, which is strong and powerful. And I ended up being the meekest, nerdiest person to grow up.
And I was one day after Tauros.
I am a bull in a
it's,
china shop.
it's really funny. Someone was doing when I was working on movie sets and stuff like that as an extra for a little bit. There was someone who was doing like astrology stuff and like asking about people's star signs, and she was like, "What's your star sign?" And I was like, "Cancer, Gemini, Cancer." And she looks to me and goes, "Are you okay?" It's like, damn, all right. Okay. Where in the world does your character most want to visit? If traveling to other places beyond Umario was possible.
I'm expecting one of you to say the average movie Craig.
That hemisphere.
If moving out of this world, what fantasy world do you think they'd like to?
No,
Oh.
as in like what other country? Because like you
Yeah.
guys are like in.
If the entire world was open and traveling was not a problem,
Yes. And both
what
were actually
co-
saying
what
7.
continent and country would you go?
Honestly, I would want to go to the desert one because it's such a radical change to what the other continents that he has traveled is.
The still
What the
wasteland.
fuck's a cactus?
What's that Joe Cat thing where it's like, no one knew what you could shove up their butts until they shoved something up their butts.
I'm looking at the entire map, and strange enough for Redwood, I just see the Woodger Expanse.
What do you mean?
Well, I not like physically see it. I mean like Redwood wouldn't want to go to like a grand desert, an oasis, the ever-smoking crag, high up cold mountains, or the swamps, or the overpacked forest. I think Redwood enjoys the plains.
I could see Chisel going to the Moonlight Peaks or the Weeping Forest.
Wait, mapping out how one would get there. The islands near the Dead Mire, then going to Hills and Heaven. That's like the quickest, like easiest route to get to the other continent because at least you have islands in between to act as rest spots.
All right.
I thought Eli froze for a second because
No,
they were not moving.
They died.
I died.
So that's this. Eli, do you have a favorite place in this?
Do I have a favorite place in this world?
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
have all the knowledge.
You designed it. You know what
I do
each
have
one
all the
should look
knowledge.
like.
Unfortunately, my favorite place hasn't been made yet, so I can't say it.
Future.
It's.
I mean,
it's-
you could.
It's.
Is it the
on the-
setting of season 2?
It is the setting of season 2. But unfortunately, season 2 isn't out yet, and we haven't even gotten that far yet, so I will not say it.
We're still kind of like halfway through season 1.
3/4.
What is the biggest mistake your character has ever made? That your arm does not count.
You didn't make that.
Yeah, it's something you did.
I can't think of anything actually. That he regrets? No.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
Anything.
which ones do you regret?
Like, sure, Chisel's made mistakes, but he's always owned up and lived with them. And honestly, he hasn't really made any major mistakes that impacted too many people.
Yeah, in the ways of mistakes, we're all really young characters.
Mhm.
But I think in the ways of regrets, I think Red would wish he'd stayed with Ulron.
Really?
He had a mentor figure who was helping him, training him, and just company. Yes, Shrub is fantastic, but having a place to live with someone who can help you
And technically raise you.
So I
He
think
did.
Redwood wishes he spent more time with Ulron.
Ulron raised you more than, at least the context that I have, more than your own father did.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what that would be, instead of kind of regrets sending his sister away and isolating himself a little, especially after like visiting her again and seeing how that kind of fucked her up a little.
A little.
A little.
A little.
Yeah, I think that was like only one regret.
Honestly, the only regret Chisel has is going down the hallway that caused him to go blind. Like, that changed so much about his life so quickly that he does tend to think, what would he be like if he never went down that hallway?
That's fair. Ooh. If your character could go back in time and change one thing about their life, what would it be? We already kind of know Chisel's answer to that question.
Yeah.
I just answered it, too.
Yeah.
Well, between the arm and the fire in the forest, I think Red would go for the fire. Like, give some warning or set up some defenses or some way to stop that event from occurring.
And
Go back and stop that fucker who put Balroon in his head and killed his entire family. Or at the very least, try to avoid it.
You mean the most traumatic things that happened in our lives are the things we wish to undo? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Who'd have thunk it?
No, actually, you know what? If I had the power to go back and change time, I would go back and fix what I had for lunch yesterday. That seems really prevalent.
No, it's like, I guess that would have been a question that would have been better post-campaign, because it's like, yeah, these traumatic events happened, but if they didn't happen, your character
We wouldn't be the people we are today.
You wouldn't be the people who you are. And also, there's like the fact of like, not every regret has to do with your trauma.
Yeah. I guess to make the question a lot more interesting is, it can't be from your backstory. Something you've actually done in the campaign.
That's a better way of doing it.
An event that occurred in the campaign that we wish to change.
Yes.
Yeah, not backstory stuff pre-campaign, like what we actually did in character.
Yeah.
Locking Redwood from almost dying. Being right next to him so he could protect Redwood from the trolls.
Oh, when you ran out?
When I ran out, that's
his biggest regret. Okay, that makes sense.
For Thevin, it would be that time he lost control and almost killed Shrub. You know,
I would be very regretful of that too if that was if my fellow party member almost murdered me for it.
I don't know if Redwood has like a major regret like those two, like changed life.
I know one. Not having to waste rations for so long when you could have picked a...
That's a dumb one.
Yes, but you just said he doesn't have too many regrets. He could have picked that one.
It's like, Chisel, I regret
The
not
river.
being there for my ally. Oh.
If Redwood could have been more prepared for the events that occurred in the river, I think he would have fixed that.
What would you
Out
have
of
changed?
character, I really wish I could go back and fix the speech I had when I was talking to Ithis. Because afterward, it's sort of like when you say something, and then after the fight, you're like, "Oh fuck, I could have said this."
A better
in the
comeback
shower
for that.
replaying the.
Like
I have a lead-up question.
Yeah.
What would you change from that scenario?
That's a good question.
From the river.
maybe found some way, just wait for the flood to eventually pass if we knew it was coming ahead of time, or like made some sort of barrier, or
Just had better
Boat.
spells.
Boat. Well, I feel like
or yeah, some sort of freeze water spell to stop things.
the freeze water spell I think could have worked. I don't know if a boat would have, because like these were, this was like not just water. This was like
It was a
debris.
flash flood.
It was a
Yeah.
flash flood
Mhm.
because
So
of
it
an
really
avalanche.
would depend on the kind of boat, and honestly, with our timeline, what we had, it would have been like a raft.
It would have been like 5 logs strapped together.
I also don't know if
And
it would
two.
have survived the onslaught of everything. Is the problem too?
That
It would have been better than Chisel being pinned under the rocks.
Well, maybe if he wasn't put in a cradle, he would have been fine from the first place.
And if I didn't roll so poorly.
yeah, I mean, I unfurled Chisel outside the cradle before we got hit.
It just ended really terribly.
Yeah, it didn't go very well. It was
Yeah.
interesting. It was really
Story-
funny when Redwood lifted out of the water like Jesus. Just like
Also,
Oh.
kind of funny. Seven tried to dive in to help Chisel, ignoring his terrible con score and almost drowning himself.
yeah, like come on,
Like,
my guy.
I think I had the highest con out of everyone.
That's the only saving grace was that you had a higher con than all of.
Yeah.
And it's the only reason why I've survived most of our combat because of my high con.
I
You're a
still
healthy
have
boy.
I still have yet to down you, and by god damn it, I'm gonna do it.
Fucking meteor. Boom.
I have 109 HP currently.
Rock falls from the ceiling, hits you in the head, the party dies.
Just one meaty hit.
And technically, I now have a self revive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The snowflake, you gave us a self
I
revive.
forgot I did that.
You got to pop that first.
Yeah.
Why is there more Pikmin?
Do you just
Just
keep
Casey
adding
keeps adding
more
them.
throughout the time period on the Discord status? Oh my god. What other character does yours find themselves having the most in common with? It doesn't have to, so it says player character, but it
Oh,
doesn't have to be player
God.
character. It can be anyone that you've met so far. Not the thinking pose.
I'm just, who would Devin actually vibe with that they would also vibe back?
It's a good question.
You mean Ellen? Elena?
I mean, besides, I feel like that's just a given. Besides her.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Haha. Notes.
What was. I think it was Cattail's wife?
Yeah.
What was her name?
It was Bella.
Bella. I think he would have a wonderful platonic time with Bella just hanging out and cooking.
You guys were of the same race and had
Of the
Culture.
same sub-race, even.
yeah, so you guys had some pretty heavy cultural ties together, so
If I didn't know better, I honestly thought Bella was part of Chisel's family.
no,
Yeah.
she was not funny.
Like I said, if I didn't know better.
I'm actually going to go with more of an opposite attracts type thing and say Helen. Like, if their meeting wasn't so scuffed, it would very much be similar to how Redwood and Devin acts. Kind of like the whole opposites thing.
Now
I
here's
don't have the name, but
what character?
the chiefess from Imauam?
Oh,
She's from
that's
Neon.
that's
Oh, wait, she's in the characters tab, isn't she?
Nestor, Piper, or Daria. Chiefess Daria.
Daria.
We never did get the chief's name. We got the son and daughter and then the chiefess.
Yeah. Daria was a very down-to-earth person and very caring, very
Nurturing.
a protective type of person, and I think that's the and Redwood did get along with her. When they had met, Redwood was trying to act polite and like not take resources and be kind because he saw what Daria was doing and saw how she was dealing with things.
So many piglins. Now there's a rat! Sorry, I'm like swapping like between like the characters tab and the general and then going back here and then I look up and I'm like, why they gotten lore rat duck? What does your character regret any particular choice the party has made so far?
Okay, so now
Party
a-
choice.
regret.
This is now more of a collective choice, not just an individual choice.
What's something we all did that was really stupid?
There's a lot of those.
But how many
There's
of those
a-
do you regret? is the
There's a
question.
lot, but I can't think of any
Yeah.
that as I a player would regret. Would regret.
Or-
I can't.
It wasn't our choice, but I think letting the hunter section leave the ritual site
You kind of cut out there in the middle.
during the remnant ruins, the ritual, we let the hunter side of the group leave. They went to Emmanuel before the ritual occurred.
Mm-hmm.
I realize it wasn't 100% our choice, but I think if we had made an argument for stay, things would have been very different. We might have still had. Discord cut me off. I think the Oracle would still be alive.
I don't think so. With the context that we now have about the emblem she was wearing being sabotaged, I don't think she would have survived.
It would have been a better chance.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm-
being block clear that it was sabotage from the get-go.
But instead we had Sustius.
Nothing
What?
but been nice to you.
I have a question. Why are you so suspicious of Nuntius?
Yeah, that is a good question.
Originally,
Why?
it was because he was the only character that you had specifically mentioned didn't have a blindfold on. And so I internally pinged him as an important character. And then we kept meeting him, and he keeps being like the head, the face of the Oracle's group. And yes, at this point it is a joke, but originally for a good long while,
It wasn't.
Redwood was suspicious because he served directly under the Oracle, and the Oracle's
only one
necklace
to
was
survive.
sabotaged. He was the only one. He was the only one left to survive because he just happened to not be in the area. The necklace was sabotaged, and he served directly under her.
And also
He was a very suspicious character.
And wasn't he also the NPC that gathered us all together? Like we all met him at some point.
No, that was
No.
Venkashali.
No, you're thinking Venkashali.
Oh, okay.
Venkashale had met you guys in Emmanuel, I'm pretty sure. He had met you guys there. So he wasn't even at the ritual site. It was a random oracle that had gathered with you guys in a smaller offside village, I think. Before the ritual took place. It was like an unnamed one.
So yeah, as a player, I was incredibly suspicious of Nuntius.
And now it's
Now
just
it's a bit.
Now it's what would you say your character's best trait would be?
his resilience.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
I can also give Redwoods and Devons.
Yeah, go ahead.
from Chisel's
Yeah,
view.
let's hear what everyone else thinks.
Redwood would be the, I would say, caring side, the helpful side of Redwood,
Right.
and Thevens would be, as much as I hate to praise it, his ruthlessness. He gets the job done. No, that's copyright now. No,
They barely pick up. Don't worry.
Couldn't help
it's
it.
been 6 months.
Couldn't help it.
But
Yeah.
Redwood's always there to help, and Thevens gets the job done before anyone else is hurt.
I'll say for Chisel, it would have to be his hardiness. Like, he is just stable, I should say. He is like the rock that everyone else can rely on, because, you know, whether like Thevens being feral or Redwood's freaking out or being enamored by something, Chisel's the one like, the Earth's down here, guys.
He's really low to the ground.
Guys, stop looking at the sky and focus on where you're stepping.
As for Redwood goes, I would say Theven admires Redwood's intellect. Like, he's actually concerned about learning things, expanding his knowledge to do all the crazy magic shit. And even though Theven doesn't understand most of it, he's like, you're passionate about it, and it's helped out, so good on you.
And what's the one
Oh,
thing
yeah.
you think about yourself is good?
I think for Theven, it would have to be loyalty. Because, like I said, now that we're more than, like, we're pretty much friends, almost found family, it's like, yeah, I'm going to die for you. I'm going to make sure no one else hurts you.
I think, from Redwood's point of view, Chisel, in a single word, it's reliability, but I think in a more expanded thing, it's more the fact that despite everything that's happening and all the craziness going on, Chisel seems to be the most level-headed and keeps everyone else grounded. Like when Redwood is panicking, Theven is going crazy about something, Chisel is something we can turn to, who keeps us grounded.
Honestly, that's kind of weird because I'm the least grounded person in our group.
You know what? Take that as a serious compliment. The fact that you can play such a range from your typical, like, crazy or
Oh,
computer
yeah.
characters and jump to a character who is quite literally the solidest part of the group.
Yeah.
Both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
You had a good
And
upbringing.
emotionally, there
You-
was so much going on at your family, and Redwood like went full like soldier mode, but you were still like, okay, we need to take this rationally. And
You keep
yes,
cutting in and
fuck
out.
this guy.
Leave the Discord and rejoin to see if that fixes it. He's been kicked. He's returned.
And he's back.
And he's green.
He's green!
I was talking about he's also emotionally stable. When the events were occurring at his home, Redwood was like he was pissed and going full soldier mode. And Chisel, despite it being his family, was still the more rational. It's like, we can't make blatant moves. We can't just threaten to kill people. We need to take this calmly and rationally.
See,
And
I think it's
That's
also really
amazing.
I think it's also really telling of like everyone's upbringing as well, because like of characters, which is something that, so it's like Chisel had a very much more stable foundation of a family, despite his blindness.
Up until 7, it was stable, and then it became overbearing.
And then it became a bit much, but he still, you know, you still have a decent foundation of a family compared to Redwood, who's got, you know, that traditionalist sort of thing going on with the circles and everything. And then there's Theven, whose family was killed by him. So
We really have, like, a full range.
Yeah.
Stability, somewhat stability, and then Theven.
Not even a proper guy. It's its
I-
own category.
Continuing on my thing.
Yeah, sorry.
For Thevin, I think it's his creativity that Redwood appreciates the most. Yes, you have moments where you drive him crazy and he has to tell you no. But you keep doing things, getting yourself more powerful, trying new things, experimenting. And Redwood doing his own thing, experimenting wizard, can appreciate that and appreciates seeing someone else doing that. As for Redwood himself, I would say creativity, but most of the time Redwood isn't leading the party. He is more on the side plan with a plan that mostly fails. So I think Redwood's biggest characteristic is the fact that he is trying to hold things together. He's consistently working on himself and helping and just pulling things where needed to pull people together or pull things up. Determination?
Going
You're full
off
determination.
of the thing you just said, Casey, I think Redwood is actually the leader of the party.
Yeah, at least the face.
I try, but every time we talk to someone, everyone else starts introducing. I'm like, I was gonna take this calmly, but you know what? Okay.
Also,
Yeah,
most of the time, people already know our names.
Well, we got to Mayuen, and I started to like try and lead the example. It's like, we don't need anything. You guys, I'm not trying to take a resource away from you. And Thevin's like, 12 things are sugar bread. I'm like, you asshole.
They were offering.
I'm like, I'll just take a glass of water. We'll survive. We have our own rations. And then it's like, mushroom bread, sugar bread. Guys.
Thankfully, I only asked for one loaf. And not 12.
So I don't think Redwood realizes he's in control.
I think Chisel and Thevin do realize that you are the one in control, and we look to you for guidance on a lot of things.
As much as Seven does his own thing, ultimately, when things get down to it, he is going to value Redwood's opinion on a plan.
I always figure Shrub knows where everyone is, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, he does that as a creative thing. It's like, I can't be with both Chisel and Thevin at the same time, so I'm giving Shrub to Chisels because I can communicate with Shrub.
Yeah.
Smart.
Shrub is my radio.
I think one more, and then we should call it.
Yeah, I think
It is
that's-
8.
that is a good idea. What stereotypical group role does your character play in the party, i.e. the mom, the mess, the comic relief, etc.?
The mom.
Yeah. Yep.
So easy to answer that one.
It's so easy. He really is.
I don't know.
I feel like. Go ahead, Brent.
Like, he could be the mess, he could be the child, or he could just be there.
Exists.
Like, he doesn't really fit into any one category.
Mm-hmm. If my understanding of these stereotypes are right, then yeah, I guess Seven could either be like the comic relief or the mess.
Shrub's
can
the
see that.
child. And
The baby.
and the what's that word? Mascot.
Yeah,
Yeah, Shrub's the baby.
she's our Tony Chopper.
I think there's a. I think if we were actually to do one more, because that was pretty short.
Yeah.
Took 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What stereotypical role would your character play in a high school setting? if they attended a normal high school, i.e. nerd, jock, bully, goth, etc.
Redwood's the nerd.
Redwood would be a nerd or pre-med.
Yeah.
Jock, maybe bully, depending
Oh
on
my god, is Devin
how he
one
was
of
raised.
the Hunter season truck kids?
He's one of
Yeah,
the
Devin.
he's one of the kids who is constantly walking around in cowboy boots or like heavy duty boots.
He has the truck. He has the beer in the back. Hey, we're gonna go hunt something in the woods later.
So redneck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
he's
I'm
the
not going to be
redneck.
at school tomorrow. Deer season starts.
Yeah.
Deer season starts, and we are going for that $200.
Yeah. Or in Florida cases, we're gonna wrestle a gator.
more than one gator.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta throw it through a Wendy's window.
So I can actually see Chisel because he is so physically just built. Being a jock in the sense that, yeah, he's probably on the football team, but he's not a douche.
Like the non-stereotypical what, but like
I honestly think Chisel would be a mix between nerd and jock.
I can see that. Like the one dude on the football team in the stereotypical setting that's like,
actually cares about his fucking grades.
yeah, actually
Chisel
cares
is
about his
wrestling.
grades.
Wrestling?
Chisel's a wrestling student.
I can see that.
Yeah.
They're not cocky, but they're strong.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank
And
you.
probably much stronger than football players.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, most certainly.
Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us for this lovely Q&A. We hope you had as much fun as we did answering these questions, and we will see you next week for a proper session. Same time,
Bye.
same place, as always. We hope you enjoyed. Goodbye!
Creepy ruins.
Bye.
Woo!